Insert random movie reference here. Yep, it's me, Mike.
And Katie.
And we're coming at you with episode 76. What are we going to do today?
Today, it's comedies.
Comedies.
It's really what we've been in the mood for.
That's what we've been laughing at on this week on Cup of Rad. Hey everybody, hope you're doing well and having a good time. As always, we're coming at you, filling up your cup and with another week of random zaniness.
Well, yeah, we just keep trying to find all sorts of new things to keep us entertained in this weird world right now.
So, yeah, which has been pretty wild. We've been looking for things to make us laugh and all.
Yeah.
Which has definitely been our new jam this last week.
Yeah.
But one thing that was really exciting was that usually when I go to show kiddo something, it's been hit or miss. For a while there in the afternoons, I was doing a little mini Disney afternoon and I was showing him different things, and he was excited for some of them, but it was like, right?
His decision of if he's truly exciting is will he ask to watch it on his own? Like, hey, Dad, can we watch this? Yeah,
if he wants to see it again, that's usually then he's okay with it.
Yeah.
So I finally, I was in the hankering. I mentioned wanted to watch X-Men and all that, so started watching X-Men. And
you wanted to binge watch X-Men.
Yeah.
You were trying to figure out how many hours of television you had, so how many days you would have to sit.
And I figure, 8 hours a day for 4 days, I could watch the entire series.
Yeah.
I think it's a legitimate thing to say. Just order me some pizza and tell them to come to the back and I'll have a little, dumbwaiter.
You could wait until the credits run and then you can run down and get it ready.
Yeah, right?
Good, yeah.
So we broke into X-Men, the old 90s. It's on Disney Plus. And it was really fun to watch, and it brought back a whole bunch of nostalgia, and kiddo was just super enthralled with it, which was pretty awesome to see, because some of the other stuff action-wise we've shown him, he's just been like, yeah, whatever.
Well, he's been actually telling me about the episodes and the characters that he's learning and listening to them. Right?
Yeah, and he keeps asking, well, I want to know more of their backstory. When do I get to find out more? And I keep telling him, well, this show was set up that the more you watch, the more you know.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that was a cool way of setting the show up. And then literally the next episode was you learned a bit more about Storm and her claustrophobia from, when she was, on the streets in Africa and all that. Right. So then it just all played together with it. Right. And he was like, yeah.
So it's making him want to watch more of it then, because he sees that he's going to learn more from the characters. That's cool.
Yeah. Which was really cool. So with that in mind, I've been eyeing up the Mezco 112 or Mezco, whatever it said, 112.
I like Mezco.
It's probably Mezco then.
Most likely then, because it makes more sense to be Mezco given how it actually is written. I don't know. It depends on what it's based on. So.
Yeah. But I love the Batman and the Joker and Catwoman we have from them.
Yeah.
The 112s. And I've been eyeing up the Wolverine and the Magneto and all that. And so with him all enthralled, I was showing him some of those online there, and he was just like, dude, we need to get the Cyclops and the Gambit and the Magneto. And so then we went to Toy Traders on the weekend and decided to do a little shopping, and I picked up the 112 Cyclops and the Magneto, and then I got the X-Force style Wolverine.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's cool because the Cyclops, there was 2 different versions, and we had the original, it was original comics.
Yeah, it was a previews exclusive. And so
and then
the underwear and it looked weird.
Yeah, well, then they had the 90s one that we were looking at on Big Bad Toy Store, and so we were going to get it from that way, but they had a used one at Toy Traders.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect thing. I was like, well, you can't pass this up.
Right? It was just
so we got to buy it in store, which was fantastic.
Yeah, and help out Toy Traders there. And what was cool, too, was when I cracked it open, it didn't really feel like it had ever really been used.
It was like someone bought it and had it in the box, and that was it.
The jacket was still in the wrap. Even the one head was still wrapped, and all the seams and everything was perfect. It posed perfectly, so it was aces right out of the box.
Well, if the use hadn't been on there, you never would have questioned it,
right? Yeah. So, which was really cool and very exciting.
Yeah. He cracked into those immediately.
Yeah, I was on the floor. It was like the old days, And I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to trying to get the Gambit, and I'd like to get the Logan too. I really hope Mezco continues their X-Men line because they're just fantastic. And with that, I keep eyeing up more of the Batman stuff. I was like Two-Face and Mr. Freeze is coming out.
Yeah.
And then they've got a Supreme Knight. It's like the Frank Miller style, but armored up. Like,
yeah, that'll be cool.
So Mezco is it's like they're like, as I say before, like little mini Hot Toys. So I was really excited to do that.
Well, yeah, all day yesterday it was Katie, I love these. I love these so much. I'm so happy I got them.
Blink, 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 blinkety, blink, blink.
Big anime eyes.
And you know what's really cool is because like not a lot of stores are open, but Toy Starters is open, which is really cool. Yeah. And their doors are wide open. They've got dots on the floor. They got one-way arrows.
Touch anything. You have plenty of social distancing.
It's scarier going to the grocery store than it was there, which was really awesome to see.
Yeah.
And it brightened my day because I just needed a little bit of like that plastic crack.
Well, it's a mental essential service. Think of it that way. So
right. So that was pretty exciting. So something else that was pretty funny that happened when we watched is the latest episode of Ducktales. And we're going to keep talking Ducktales each week, probably, this episode.
It's always fabulous.
So it was Louis 11's.
Yes.
And so it was a complete play on Ocean's 11.
Well, it was so funny because I didn't even catch that at first. And then when he went to outlay this plan, it's Louis 11. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a second. This is a scheme. This is Ocean's 11 in Ducktale form.
Yeah. And so it's just a whole scheme. But the thing that capped it off for me is Donald gets stuck in an elevator and he's crawling through an air vent. Mm-hmm. And he jumps out of the air vent to save the day and yells, "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon."
Me and Mike, we laughed so hard. We looked at each other. We're like, holy shit, did that just happen?
And what's hilarious about that is way back in the day when Die Hard was on the air and they would just do ADR dialogue over top instead of cutting. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon was the line that he says.
Really?
Yes. That's what made it even better.
I've never watched Die Hard on with that type of thing,
right? Back when, yeah.
Oh, that
was replaced. Was replaced with Mr. Falcon. So that's what made that line just
wow,
brilliant.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm assuming they knew that
they had to have known it. It's way too much a coincidence.
Ducktales.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Daisy showed up in this one, which was adorable.
And Tress McNally still did the voice, which was pretty awesome because she even made it sound a little younger.
Yeah, it didn't make it sound like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or anything like that, which was great, or the current shorts, right? Yeah. She sounded a little bit more innocent type, and that was fabulous.
And we got to find out why Daisy's so madly in love with Donald. She hears him differently.
Yes. She's because he's like, oh, no one will understand me. She's like, what are you talking about? I understand you just fine. Yeah. I could listen to your voice all day. I was like, oh my God, this is super love and just totally adorable.
Yeah, it was like the Don Cheadle voice was back.
Yeah.
So
it was so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So DuckTales, find it. It's hilarious. Speaking of hilarity, we mentioned last week that we started watching Community. And that has consumed our life over this last week. And
so when are we gonna watch Community next, Mike?
Pretty much every other show has been put on hold. Every other movie has pretty much been put on hold, and we're just watching Community.
Yeah,
hours on end. It feels like, but we're not really. We only got through the first season.
Yeah.
So,
which it's super binge worthy for us though, because we actually hit the point on Netflix where they asked if we were still watching.
Yeah,
and that is not normal.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It was like, what? We actually have to be a human that says yes, I will continue watching this.
And just for that fact, I said yes, and we continued to watch.
Yes,
but Community takes place. It's all in community college, and it's just zany. It's done by Dan Harmon. He's one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, yeah, it's just a funny show. The Russos, that's where they have some of their stuff too, right?
It's a style too with enough of a group that you have the different extreme versions of different things. So it's a perfect play off of it, of the good and the bad of each person they can have, and how they can, as I say, interact and everything like that. And yes, it's a weird concept. It's a different place, a setting, an idea of a community college because it's a very real situation that actually does occur, but no one ever thinks about it.
Yeah.
And that we always either see a university or just office, or jobs and everything. So
or
it's almost,
whenever you do think about college too, it's always the party life though, too, right? It's never the study life.
It's never the actual day-to-day dealing with classes unless it's teenagers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. So, yeah, it's brilliant. And we never did get to watch it when it first aired. And so I love that we can just binge this.
Yeah,
And it's just fabulous.
It might be the next few weeks. That might be all we're talking about.
Yes, by the way, here's our community update.
Yeah. We got to see the Modern Warfare episode.
Yes.
Season 1 where they had the paintball thing. That was amazing because there's more Die Hard.
Right.
Right? So, like, it was just, yeah.
That episode was fabulous.
Sorry, there's wild animals and babies outside.
Yeah, I don't know why there's, like...
Dogs fighting babies.
So much things going on.
There's blood and guts and...
So much going on in the
There's
neighborhood.
babies being torn apart outside our window right now, and the mother's just looking at it, not thinking anything at all, just smiling and laughing as the dog tears the poor child apart.
I don't know what...
Won't someone think of the children? Speaking of that, we watched more of that nature show that Katie loves, and we got to see an antelope torn in half. Hostile Planet. Watch babies get torn in half.
It's so hard to watch. I was like, oh, good, we're going to watch the nature show. What's baby's going to die tonight?
And then nothing died for a while, and then two cheetahs tore an antelope in half.
So these poor babies, most of them don't even live past the first hour. Like, it was just so, like, because literally they're born and the predators are just sitting there waiting for them to...
Nature.
Uh-huh. Nature is cruel, man. Holy moly.
Humans are pampered and we are babies.
So much so. Like, the fact that we expect our children to live alone is, like, a huge step up.
Right? We like assume we're overprivileged little brats and to know that our children are going to live.
Right? We don't have to, like, really fight for them.
No.
Type thing. Like, it's such a
Could you imagine if you had to just birth your baby in a parking lot and then walk away from it, hoping that it would survive?
Nothing will kill it.
Because that's what antelopes do.
Because if they stay there trying to guard it, then they give it away. So they just have to hope that the baby just stays quiet and doesn't move and doesn't attract the attention, and that someone else's baby makes enough attention and dies first.
Yeah.
Like, it's so awful.
So think of that. Think of a whole bunch of pregnant basic bees with their lattes out there in a parking lot dropping babies.
Oh, goodness. We've gotten dark. We've gotten dark.
And then I don't know what the predator would be, but it's a weird sight.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you want to see nature at its finest and most terrifying, watch Hostile Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have we been watching, Katie?
So on comedy aspect, we thought, well, we should watch the movies. And we thought we'd bring Kiddo into the fold and introduce him to some awesome classic comedies that we can introduce him to.
Yeah. Kind of.
No, I don't feel bad about it, honestly. Like, I was worried at first. Some of it was a little questionable, but I think some of the questionable stuff just went right over his head, quite honestly. So,
and I was looking at the ratings, and I was looking at when they came out in relation to when I saw them. So in a lot of cases, I'm like, oh yeah, I watched this by this age, so, you know.
And you turned out just fine.
Yeah, look, I'm a pinnacle being.
So we broke into Mel Brooks movies.
Yep, Mel Brooks classic comedies.
Yep. And first one up was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
So funny little story. This here actually was going to segue into a completely different episode, and it never happened.
Yeah.
But we could still bring it back. You never know. It was going to be an entire Robin Hood episode.
Which I was kind of looking forward to. And then we just, because of your school project, we just never found the time to continue watching said
because the realization that the other Robin Hood movies are really friggin' long.
Yeah.
So we might venture back. If you want to hear an all Robin Hood episode,
let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
So the reason why we were going to do an all Robin Hood episode was because growing up for me, I know the story, the concept of Robin Hood. But
through Mel Brooks.
I know Robin Hood through Disney's Robin Hood and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
We're men, manly men. We're men in tights.
I knew that he satired things, but at the same time, I never realized that Robin Hood Men in Tights was so much of a satire because I have never seen Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, that is a mind-boggling thing.
Which is odd.
Because Prince of Thieves was one that I seen way too many times.
Yeah.
Because it was like the VHS copy that every teacher owned in high school. Well, even in
It's like
middle
they just
school,
distributed it to all the teachers.
yeah, like every teacher had it from middle school to high school, and it was like, oh, we're on a flex day or something
because it's
we're gonna watch a
history.
movie.
They can. It's historical, so we can watch it in school.
So it's the one that I know the most, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about the idea of doing the Disney Robin Hood one because Kiddo has completely forgotten about that.
Yeah,
one.
he doesn't remember it.
And then the Prince of Thieves, and then the Russell Crowe, and then the Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
But then that fell through because like all those other movies are like 2.5 hours each.
So out of curiosity, if you've seen all of those or anything, let us know what you think. I mean, because I'm watching Men in Tights, and I've always just found it funny.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was based on other things and other gags, and like I felt like so sheltered suddenly. So yeah, but we watched Men in Tights, and Kiddo was really amused.
Yeah, and this was a full RADnesia.
Yes,
because
it was.
both of us knew this movie.
Yes, very much so. Like I know that movie inside and out, not a problem at all. And laughing before things happen type thing. And I hadn't seen it for many years.
Yeah,
and it was interesting because from the perspective that it has so many things that are out of time, and then it always has those breaking the fourth wall, like if it was a movie set in itself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it made Kiddo laugh, and sometimes it really irritated him. Like he was just like, "What is going on? What is happening?" And it was interesting to see what he thought was funny and what he didn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Men in Tights, I remember seeing it in a theater. And it was one of those ones because I was like, I shouldn't be watching this because it's weird things.
It's weird things.
Yeah, when you're 10, you're like, but it's still just a funny movie, and it's one of those ones you can go back and forth because it's just the wink at the camera and laugh, right? And everything's just so well played throughout the movie.
Well, there's so much the banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
You really do have to listen to it, and they just say stuff so quickly, and the way they deliver the lines, like it's wonderful.
Well, yeah, I love when Blinken finds Robin there, and he's like, "Oh, you're back, and you have no arms, but you grew a nice set of knockers." Yeah, it's just so well delivered. And then that came from a time too where that's probably the tamest of the three that we watched, actually, for some of the language and situations.
Well, Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks wise, isn't too bad though.
There's a lot more sex in that.
There is a lot more sex, you're right. It's a different style.
Not
but
so...
yeah, out of Mel Brooks, that was definitely a tame one.
Yeah. And but it was.
Well, I was telling my coworker that we were going to show Kiddo Mel Brooks movie. She's like, "Don't show him History of the World." And I was like, "I know."
I love that one. Yeah, because like there's some questionable things, and he was confused about the chastity belt, and we just were able to glaze over that one pretty well.
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, I understand it, but I'm not going to question like why it's there and whatever. He thought it was funny, but yeah, because there is actually no real true sex scenes of any sort in it. There's an almost one in a little bit, but I thought one of the things that was funny for him was when Robin gets all upset that she has this belt on, and Kiddo was like, "But you have a key. Why are you upset?" I was like, "Oh God, he knows." He was
right off the bat. He knew that he had the key. Like
it was just like, no, you got a key. You're good.
But yeah, no, it was still a fun movie to watch. There's lots of laughs in it, and the thing that really got him was the circumcision.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That one there, he was just like, what?
Yeah, because he was just like, I don't understand this. We explained it just briefly. He's like, just jaw drop. Like, what the heck's wrong with people? And it does sound pretty terrible when you talk about it out loud, right?
So on your whole, how does it hold up for you?
I still love it. I mean, I have nothing really bad to say about it at all, because to me, all the horrible campiness that it is just makes it wonderful. It's something that I've seen so many times.
Yeah.
And
how was showing your son a Dave Chappelle movie?
That I know, it was when we were starting, I was like, what are we doing? Oh my God, Dave Chappelle's gonna be in it. Oh God. is it really like I glazed over it to the point where I was concerned?
You watched
that
it on television so much, and there were so many Mr. Falcons that you
exactly right, and
crab apples and motor fingers.
And I think honestly, the only thing that I really worry about now is sex in movies for him. Because
he's heard everything else on the playground.
Yeah, and I don't want to have something where it's like constant barrage of swearing and unnecessary language for it. And of course, obviously, there's nothing horribly gore and violence and everything like that. But
I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares.
Yeah, so
child waking up with nightmares and then waking you up and then
and so that's why I was more concerned about that. A lot of it, though, that it was more difficult to show him was him understanding the humor and some of the laughs because he doesn't understand the stuff out of time, right? He doesn't because even for me not knowing and not seeing Prince of Thieves, I still could understand the parody concept of it. But the stuff that's out of time that would have been funny at the time the movie was made, because at least understanding the history of things, you understood what was going on with that. And so that was what actually made it a little bit more difficult for him. And I felt kind of bad where he might have been a little bit more bored.
We did have to pause it at one point and try to like explain some things. And then once he understood, then he was
okay, right? But I think his favorite part was when they referenced the story, the screenplay. Yeah. He thought that was hilarious that they were all looking up the script to see what would happen. Yeah. And that one I think was his favorite thing. He was like full on gut laughing on that. He's like, what is happening? So what about you?
I love it. It's fantastic. I still laugh.
Oh, he also liked when they were fighting on the bridge, him and Little John. That is one of my favorite scenes too, with the little stick that keeps breaking and they whack each other on the knuckles. And
I can't swim. I can't help me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes right there. Just pew, 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 pew.
So go find Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's going to help you laugh through the quarantine doldrums.
There you go.
I think for us, it was also, we have it on DVD, but it was also on Amazon Prime up here. So check that
Everything is on there too. Like everything, we were able to stream all of these different Robin Hoods. So
yes,
we have the ability to.
Yes. So if you want that Robin Hood episode, let us know.
There you go. So next up.
So this is a staple from your family.
Yes.
Like this is one of like the first things I knew about your family.
This falls into that category. If you don't like this movie, you can't get along with our family.
You can't sit with us. Spaceballs.
Classic.
That's all she's going to say. She's out. Mic dropped.
Peace out. That's all I can say. You know what? Honestly, I have always waited for the day that I could show my son this movie. Because I love it so much. Because it's classic. It's one of those ones where I can quote everything in this movie, and then I can hear my family members quoting this movie as well. This movie always gets quoted in my household, so.
Yeah, it's big on your dad.
Yeah.
Ludicrous speed and
they've gone plaid.
Yeah.
We realized that how much he used that, and then we used that to describe my son when he was younger. When he would get overtired and crazy and zany. And then, it's interesting how I watch some of these movies and then I realize that all these things that I remember my dad saying, how much of it really does come from them.
Yeah.
And to me, they were just
he stole that catchphrase.
I was like, wait a second.
That wasn't wisdom.
He's always just said, that my son had gone plaid. And then I was like, wait a second. Like, he wasn't specifically quoting the movie at the time. He was just using it in normal conversation. Yeah. So then it becomes less of a quote and more of just a normal thing he says. Yeah. And then it's like, wait a second. No, that came from Spaceballs. Interesting.
Another thing that was really interesting is to see that now Spaceballs didn't really have the sex or the violence, but it had more of the language.
Yes.
So
how many assholes do we have working for us?
I'm surrounded by assholes.
You know what's awesome is I never understood that joke completely. And now I realize that they're all named that. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever... it was funny before. I thought he was just calling them assholes. And I'm like, wait, no. Because what if your name was asshole? That would be pretty bad.
Yep. And your cousin and your brother and your...
So, anyways.
We've kept on the train of the John Candy train too, right?
Yeah.
And, Kiddo even noticed he was watching it in himself. He was like, wait a minute, that's John Candy.
We're teaching him right. He's recognizing classic.
Right? But Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars, and Mel Brooks had gotten the approval from George Lucas to parody it as long as there was no merchandise, and that's why there's all those jokes about Spaceballs, the movie merch.
Yeah, that's really funny because everything. I like Spaceballs, the placemat. Spaceballs, the pen. Spaceballs, the sheets.
Spaceballs, the cereal. 100% sugar. So what's your favorite part of Spaceballs? Or a favorite part?
Oh no. Let's see. One of my favorite parts. I love Dark Helmet because in general, like when he first, when he first shows up,
yeah,
you know, he's so trying to be so menacing and so horrible, and then you start realizing that it's not just the noise that he's making from a mask, like he can't breathe,
yeah,
and then he pops the thing open and he's just such a dork inside. It's just so funny. So that's really great, and just how much he's trying to have this power and be scary, and he
isn't.
You know, he isn't. And just how big his helmet is. It's just
he's
so funny.
Overcompensating.
Yes, very much so. And I love the ludicrous speed in Gunpla.
Yeah.
And that is just like, whatever. I can just do whatever I want. Like, it's totally I can just bend everything to my will and safety doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. And I like that. What else?
You like everything.
I like everything. I just, yeah.
So it held up on your RADnesia viewing?
Yeah, nothing could tarnish that. I mean, at all. Like, I laugh so much at it. I like when she's, like she can't live without her giant hairdryer. And he's just like, oh my gosh, like the thing is just so huge too. It's not just a nice hairdryer. It's ginormous and ridiculous. And I think it's funny too with Dot Matrix, her name. Like, I didn't understand it until I'm older and realized, like, wait a second, that's named that because it's like old technology and like little things like that. I still find things that are different and funny, right? So
yeah, no, it's a great film. Like, it's just funny from start to finish.
Yeah,
it doesn't really let
or
up.
Like the Prince Valium. Yeah, like I never really, as a child, I'm like, that makes sense now. Why he's named Prince Valium and why he's always asleep. Okay, now I know.
But yeah, Kiddo said it was awesome. He liked it.
What's one of your favorite parts?
I like when they jam the radar.
Oh, yes.
And then, like, there's
only one person that would use raspberry.
Dark Hamlet alone in that film, Rick Moranis, is just fantastic in his delivery of it. And it's just a classic comedy, and it still just made me laugh the entire way through.
I was really grossed out by Pizza the Hut this time around. I got a really hard time because it's almost like I felt bad for the actor playing Pizza the Hut.
Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, because like you could see him inside a little like
the tongue is adhered to his chin, right?
Yeah, and so you can see the actor in there, and then you can see the stuff like dripping off of him. Yeah. And I was just like, because I know the movie so well, I didn't have to pay attention to what he was saying.
Yeah,
and I had to like look at the technical aspect. I was like, I just feel like sticky thinking about it. Like, it's just gross. So when you watch it so many times, you can think those things when you watch the movie.
Start picking it apart.
I like that one of the things to just start off just laughing hysterically was how the rolling first credits though. And like, you laughed at me because it says if you can read these, you don't need glasses. And then you turned and you're like, says the person wearing glasses, which was quite funny. But how long the ship is.
Oh,
and the Jaws music. And just that it kept going. And Kiddo was just like, seriously, how big is this ship?
I think that was probably the highlight of the night on that one, just because he just lost it.
You're just like, oh my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then he also was very confused at the end with the clowns and the circus animals and the zoo.
That bothered him.
He was just like, where the heck did they come from? What is going on? We're like, dude, there's a zoo and a circus going on. Like, he specifically said that. And he was just like, what is happening? Why is the bear using the escape pod? Good times.
But yeah, Spaceballs is just one of those classic comedies that'll just make you laugh and laugh. And
what's the combination? 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. It's the same combination of my luggage.
Should probably change that.
Sorry. Anyway, see, this is what happens.
Right?
This is what happens.
This is like initiation to her side of the family.
Yeah.
They tie you down and tell you
to watch Spaceballs.
No, they ask you, quotes and whatnot. If you don't, they.
Oh, so what's fantastic is our Blu-ray disc. I open it up and I realize it comes with bumper stickers.
Yep.
So it has like "We Break for Nobody." It has "I Heart Uranus."
Yep.
And all sorts of awesome things.
I like how you actually said Uranus, not Uranus.
Uranus. I know. You know what? Whenever I say
Uranus.
Whenever I say that word, it's like a 50-50 chance of how it's going to come out. It's just, am I going to say it like to the point where I'm going to laugh, or am I going to say the point where I'm trying not to laugh? Like, because really, that word can be said any types of ways, right? So, yeah, there's a Spaceballs, the sticker, the bumper sticker or whatever, which is great. I think I need to find a reason to have to use one of those. Like, they're just sitting in there, right? So, I won't put it on the car.
Unless you put "I love Uranus." That
would be awesome, though, because it's hilarious. It's a band, kind of like a Winnebago. It's good, right?
And with that, another fantastic thing for your watching is Spaceballs. If you haven't found it and seen it, or just revisit it, because it will make you laugh.
Welcome to my childhood.
And the final Mel Brooks one that we checked out this week was Young Frankenstein.
This is another one.
Frankenstein!
It is pronounced Frankenstein. Another absolute classic that I grew up with.
And another one from the side of her family that is
this one is quoted by both of my parents more than the other ones. My dad quotes a lot of Spaceballs and then even Robin Hood. But my mom quotes a lot of Young Frankenstein, actually, which is what I realized more so.
Like, especially on this watch here, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I was just like, oh, wait, she says this and she says this. And it was interesting.
The taffeta, darling.
Yes. No, the hair. Oh, the lips. No. We used to do that, which was always quite fun. We would, and I didn't. That's another ones where it became so much of my mom's normal thing that I forget that she's actually quoting it from a movie when she would just say taffeta. And I forget that then when you watch the movie, you're like, wait a second, it's not just a word of like, don't touch me, or I feel, it's the clothing that she's wearing, the type of material. And it always takes a moment to me to catch up and be like, that's what she's talking about. Madeline Kahn is just so fabulous. The way she delivers things, and it's funny. But this movie was definitely, it's more dramatic than the other true Mel Brooks movies.
It does take a lot more to get into.
Yeah. Well, and it's different because it doesn't have the fourth wall breaking as much as the other ones. It doesn't, it's not like you're watching movie set, those types of things.
Oh, that was something with Spaceballs. Sorry, backtrack.
Oh, yeah. That.
Kiddo loved the fact that they were able to get a copy of the movie and see where it was at.
Instant VHS.
Right? He thought that was hilarious.
But what's happening now? But then when will when be? And when was that? It just happened. It's just too late.
So now... it was a lot more dry and didn't have that same kind of reference, right? But this one was also written by Gene Wilder with Mel Brooks. So Gene Wilder also had asked that Mel Brooks not be in the movie because it would distract from the movie they were trying to tell.
Oh, okay.
So Mel Brooks does do... He's
credited as animal voices?
Yeah, he does. He does
the voiceover of the great-grandfather.
Yeah, he does the wolf howl, and then he does the cat that gets hit by the dart. Yeah. So...
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Apparently they fought a lot on set. That was kind of their breaking point. Well,
it was styles, a very, very specific style that he wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because, that one definitely is different than the others for sure.
Yeah.
So
right.
The way it's delivered.
So zany.
Yeah. And you don't have the satire feeling, right? That's the big difference is it's not the,
pure parody.
Yeah. And you don't have the things out of time and whatnot. So.
I know Kiddo, he was like, well, it wasn't as funny as the other two, but it was still a good movie. Because he loves black and white movies.
Yeah. I think he liked the old style.
Yeah, the oldie style.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was interesting was that Mel Brooks actually got to use a lot of the original Frankenstein equipment. And the equipment is credited to the actual person that had the equipment. And that person never had the credit in the original Frankenstein.
Oh, wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting. So yeah, kiddo really liked the, because it's a classic scene, of course, the put the candle back. When he finds the secret laboratory and the swinging door and just... the smushed face is just awesome.
Put the candle back.
And he also really loved the scene of, when he goes in, when he's like telling the assistant, no matter how much I beg, no matter how much I plead for my life, do not open that door. It will undo everything. And he immediately was like, what the hell? Like, I was lying. Didn't you know I was joking? Get me out of here. And like, such a quick turn. It was just an immediate change. And so he thought those were kind of funny. He really did like some of the way that Gene Wilder delivered those lines, right? So, so that one is a lot slower, but it has some very key moments that are really funny. And I every time I watch it, I forget how long the story actually is.
It feels really long because it takes a bit to get into before it starts, really until Igor shows up.
Yeah. Oh, he really... He noticed
Igor.
He noticed that the hump was changed. So what did you learn about the hump on
apparently the hump was never supposed to originally move. It actually was just Marty Friedman.
Mark Feldman,
he did it as a joke, and he kept moving it until someone noticed.
That's funny.
Basically, and then
so then the look of some of the times were like, wait, what? It's real, probably then.
So
nice. Yeah, and he the brain was quite funny with the Abby someone. He's like, wait a second. He shouldn't be doing that. He's putting an abnormal brain in him. Like, you caught that right away. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really fun being able to actually introduce these movies to them, just because it was something different, and they were a little harder edge, but it was also,
and with Young Frankenstein, other than the drama, the only part that I was a little questioning about was the end, when
sex scenes.
The sex scenes, like multiple of them. Like, that was the only one question, but he never even, as long as we don't say anything, because it doesn't show anything.
We also talk about things with them too.
Yeah.
So
it's not like he's completely unaware of it. It wasn't vulgar or anything.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing that's kind of cool, is that with the Mel Brooks films, especially those ones they're pretty safe, except for some language and some suggestiveness. But to be able to introduce to the youngins, because they're true forms of parody without relying too much on the easy joke, right?
Well, and because so many comedies now, when they're actually better written comedies, are so edgy and R-rated, right?
Yeah, that's the thing we were talking about. There's either R-rated or family.
Yeah, where it's like, we're going to just kill ourselves watching this thing because we can't. They're so dumb and so in the toilet sometimes or anything like that. So when, like, say with Trolls, when you have something that has some good comedy in it, it really, you kind of grab onto it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the one scene that he was confused about that was hard to try to play off was when they were up on the elevated platform.
Oh.
And he brings him back down, and he's like, what were they doing? I thought they were hanging out. They were working.
Yeah, one of them was working.
It's like, that one was a little harder. But you know what? Out of all of that, and that was the only scene that we just kind of awkwardly had to limp over, then I'd say we did a pretty good job with it. And I still love that movie.
Yeah, it still filled your cup.
Yep.
It still felt fully rad.
Roll in the hay.
What knockers? Yeah, no. Young Frankenstein is a great classic movie because it parodies off of the Frankenstein movies and the old horror movies. So that is another one. Help you through the blues, finding some Mel Brooks.
There you go.
So there's 3 of them there for you to check out. Most of them are on a streaming. I believe most of them are on Amazon here, but you can probably find them pretty much anywhere. But the thing I like best with one of the quotes from Rob Paulson is laughter is the best medicine. The refills are free and you can't OD. And I think that's something that we need right now too, is finding those things that make us laugh and maybe don't make us so paranoid about the world, right?
Yeah.
Like stop watching Pandemic and Outbreak and find those comedies because
we don't need something that completely mirrors the real world right now.
Right. And humor and laughter boosts your immunity. It brings your stress levels down.
Yeah.
So
stress is the worst thing for immunity, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that's really cool about finding those comedies that make you laugh. Like, that's one of the things where we're enjoying Community, because it's ridiculous and it makes us laugh. And it makes
I'm excited for Community, man. I'm gonna go watch more.
I need my hit.
I need my Community hit, man.
Looks like we're out today. We're gonna go watch Community.
I don't need to edit this. I can go watch Community. Oh, it's so good.
Speaking of which, it was pretty awesome because Simon from Over the Brew Pill, I'd seen him comment about the Modern Warfare episode on Twitter to someone. And it was just when we had just started watching and you know, it was...
Yeah, you were like, oh, I'm excited to be able to watch this episode,
right? Now I was like, okay, if he's saying that's one of the best episodes, like, I'm going to be on that, so...
And it just, it was so...
Every action cliche rolled into one.
You know, one of the episodes I really liked, I don't know what it was called, but it was a Christmas episode. Yeah. So it was them talking about they were literally, every single one of them was a different belief. And so it was just so funny to hear them interact with it and have that conversation of trying to get along and accept everyone and be okay with it. And it was just like a whole global, you know, philosophical thing pushed into 20 minutes, and it was just really well done. Oh yeah. So
it's I'm really enjoying the show.
I love how much Chevy Chase still does all his physical comedy on it, which is just, it feels, no matter how old he was in it, right? He still had the same gags where he's still just really funny when he just falls over shit. Like, it's just awesome. He's such a good comedian because he delivers things so straight faced and so that's just like, he just said that. Oh, that makes me uncomfortable, but he just delivers it so well. Yeah. Anyways, apparently, can you tell we like the show right now? Comedies are the way to go, man.
That's what's happening. So find something to make yourself laugh. Yeah. Because that's the best thing you can do.
Any other recommended comedies, let us know. Yeah. So we have a decent amount of them we own, but you know, we're always looking forward for new comedies.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen over the next little while because episode-wise, because Kiddo has been staring at all our DVDs, picking out things he wants to watch. He's mentioned Indiana Jones. He's mentioned The Dark Knight. He's also mentioned Lord of the Rings. So
we've already promised them at least a couple of those. Yeah. So
we'll see. You know what? Next week will be a surprise.
Yeah, because I don't want to make a promise and then something doesn't go as planned. Yeah. So we'll most likely be watching more Community. Yeah. And so then
So next week will be your weekly update of what we thought of season 2 of Community.
Oh, now we got to set that. We have to get through all of season 2 now, man. We'll do it. No problem. You don't have school now.
No.
Life is weird again. Yeah. Mike doesn't have school. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I'm going to probably do some cleaning, though. Yeah. Make a spring cleaning. Because that's nerdy and whatnot. Yeah. Dust totally. my figures in my French maid outfit. But watch.
I'm sorry, I'm lost with that right now.
We do have. So our podcast does show up.
Can you do it in your Batman apron? Just it?
Just the apron? Or? Yeah.
I mean, without me here, it would be kind of pointless.
Yeah, it would. But our podcast does drop on YouTube, but every once in a while I throw a little video on there. I'm doing something called Quick Sips. That's what I'm going to start right now while I'm a little not doing other things. I'm going to go through some of our collection and look at some of our figures and all that. And instead of doing big, long reviews, I'm just going to do quick takes. So 2-3 minutes probably. I might even bring Kiddo in so we can show off some of his Pokemon, tell you what he thinks of them, all that. So you can check out our YouTube there.
Well, and I know you wanted me to show some of the Sailor Moon figures off as well.
So we'll start doing a little bit of that maybe. Just it's Couple Rad's Quick Sips and let you know if we think the figure is worth getting or not.
There you go.
Something fun and different.
Nice.
So
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess till next week.
That's right. So everybody stay rad.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!